Everybody, welcome back to another KYRIE video by Matt Crux. And this is volume 2, Exiles in the Wasteland, or Exiles in Wasteland without the. So we're going to dive right in because there's a lot to talk about, because there's a whole lot of information that is, for me, very hard to translate into a video, what the story is all about. So what I'm going to do is, talk. I'm going to pick up some pages and I'm going to talk what's in the book. I'm going to read something to you. So we pick up where we left, and our trio, Marcus, Mira or Myra, and the Roman soldier called Tertius, is stranded somewhere at, I believe, the Libyan shoreline. And what I love before we go there is this page. This made a very an impact for me because I love how Matt has drawn the whole scene with the water, but also the blue dialogue here, and also part on the water. It's like when you go on a vacation and you want to take pictures on the water, if you have equipment like that, and then you try to pick a photo on above the water or on the water, and then somehow you see the line here on the photo. That's very cool done. So Marcus and the prisoners is getting ashore, but Mira is not very happy with those two, and he wants an explanation about what's going on. So Marcus, who's tied up here, explains the situation, that he needs to go to a certain place, to Siwa, and he needs Mira's help to get there because Mira wants the riches and he wants to stop Valerian because Valerian is a power-hungry man. So they come to a temporary agreement, and they go on their way into the desert, I believe, to search for a certain place. And here we are. We see another beautiful vista, a beautiful landscape. And here they say, let's move. So Marcus is talking about what's going on in the scrolls. And he said there is some kind of power source that Valerian tries to find. And before they go there, I'm try to grasp the whole story, and it's very hard to do because there's a lot of dialogue in here. But basically Marcus says, hey, there is a temple, and under the temple there is a center. It's called Megaron, the House of 100 Gates, and they need to go there because they want to find the source as well, for whatever reason, because they try to stop Marcus for, I presume, reaching that place again, because his son Galileus was there, and Galileus found something, and what that is I'm going to show you a little bit later. But he explains that according to the scroll, Alexander was led there, Alexander the Great, to meet someone inside the shrine, but that someone was no priest of Zeus Ammon. I believe this is a Z, or not, not entirely sure, but I call it Zeus because that's how I see it. It was a creature called the Auspex, that was part of volume 1 as well, in the storyline. Trusted guardian of something very old and very awful, something known as the Fountain of the Sun. And before he continues, he wants to take some fish paste because they are eating, as you can see here. And then Mira has a conversation with Perseus, because Perseus wants to try to escape, and he basically threatens him from, hey, listen, I despise you guys. You do something, you're going to regret it. You stay with us, and you do as we say, otherwise the big guy goes berserk and pummels you in a soggy melon. And then she hands him to Marcus because he says this is for his safety. And they are travel further. And then we skip a little bit pages here, and we go to Valerian and his son Galileus. And Galileus said, hey, listen, I was at the place Siwa. There is an excavation point in the oasis, and he breaks in. There's a lot of gold, but there's something else too. The air started to move, and he is getting possibly possessed, as you can see here, by something. And he crawls towards an opening, and then he sees what they call the auspex. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the auspex is. It could be just a living being, a living human, or maybe a vessel from something that resides in here. I'm not entirely sure, but it intrigues me a lot. And then we skip a little bit to this place, and I really love this scene. It takes me back somehow. Maybe it's hard to explain for me anyway, but this book is doing something with me emotionally, and it's very hard to explain. But when I see a picture like this with the beautiful colors and the scenery, it brings me, I don't know, peace, tranquility, if that's how you call it. This is a nice, serene, calm environment. And Marcus has a conversation with Tertius, and Tertius with Marcus. He said, listen, the quorum, was it? Outlawed order of the ruling elites. So not only are you a traitor to your comrades, but to your people and losses of Rome as well. And he said that I am. So they started to talk. And basically there's also a lot of, bonding. Probably not the right word at this point. But basically the quorum, as Marcus explains, is an illegal organization. But to this day, many of the leading public men of Rome may be counted among his members. But Marcus was also a member. Not sure why he is, not a part of that anymore. But there's probably a reason behind that we do not know of. And at this point, Matt, the writer and creator and the drawer and artist, and he does everything himself. Matt is a big fan of ancient history, Greek, Egyptian, probably a lot of other history as well. And he puts a lot of his knowledge in here because at this point he says, how dare you quote Homer to a Greek? The story has many names, but there's only one ending to any of them. So there's some, bickering. It's not really bickering, but something between them as well. And we see more of Theseus in this book. So basically they are starting to get to know each other. And again, beautiful scenery. I love that as well. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Then, okay, I'm gonna talk about the book. The story. So the scroll gives an account of what Alexander the Great was up to in Egypt at the Siwa oasis. And what he was up to was sort of meet up with the auspex so that he can get something called the Fountain of the Sun. Marcus says correct. Mira is summarizing. The quorum pick up on this little gem of historical knowledge when they discover that scroll and read it for themselves. They even lock up its translator, who is Marcus, presumably to keep it under wraps. At the same time, the quorum managed to negotiate their way into obtaining a special piece of the Persian ember. The Persian ember was, I believe, that bauble from the first book that exploded. Though not before I stole it. Again, okay, that's correct. You lit it, and an infernal thing turned supernatural and blew a hole in the Alexandrian harbor. So, and she said there's something missing. We need more information. And Marcus explains this whole piece. So I'm going to read it to you because I cannot explain it very well. It says that an initiate would be led through the desert by two guides, winged serpents called the Dracontes. They will bring him to a mountain in the western oasis, under which was housed the Megaron, a ritual center built to preserve something unique from civilization's very dawn. They call it the Fountain of the Sun. The initiate would received by the Megaon's priestess and seer called the Auspex. And that's the figure that we see in the chair with Marcus and Galileus. I'm seeing with Galileus and talking to his father a while back. She was said to be a being with the appearance of a black dove possessed with the power of human speech. The Auspex would then instruct the initiates into a secret ritual upon the fountain, on this fountain, called the Rite of the Quajin. A secret ritual, Miria says. He explains that, however, Callisthenes did suspect that it involved an offering up of priceless sums of gold, a votive gift to the Auspex and her power. She stored these riches with the Megaron's many-chambered repositories, leading to the shrine being known as preceding ages as the Hecatompylon, the House of the 100 Gates. That's so, says Mira. And then it's get interesting. If the Auspex was satisfied with the performance of the rite, she would reward the initiate with a gift, a polished sphere of amber filled with a resin, it seems, of strange luminescent quality. The red lady, that's the red bauble. Known as the sign of the Auspex. And with the inner resin lit, the inscribed amber would project a cryptic message intended for the initiate alone. So basically, it's a map to somewhere. As they explain here, the sign message was a key, which was point to chosen one's reward. A symbol here, the one that Ressus projects, it was also on a piece on a parchment that's got me through Valerian's Imperial Gods. What is it? She says. This is the reward. Polynomus, the one of the endless nameless, the one of the endless names. And what is Polynomus? A doorway. And from that point on, my mind was racing. My mind was so intrigued what's going on. I think, okay, man, this is a doorway to what? To heaven and hell? To life and death? I'm not entirely sure, but it brings me back to all those ancient movies I saw, because I grew up with, spectacle movies, like we call it, like Ben-Hur, and a lot of Roman civilization movies with Caesar and gladiators and slaves, etc. I love those movies. And this book brings me back to those times. And it says the cure for death. So it goes a little bit on, and I don't want to spoil too much, but basically they need to find a certain place to, they have to go to Siwa, but they are, being hunted by the Roman Empire and probably the Persian Empire too. So Mira says, hey, listen, we need to stay away from that. We need to lose them in the wilderness, and we need to, find the caravan routes on the far side of these Garamantian mountains. Skip a few pages. Again, beautiful art. So then, Perseus, the Roman soldier, talks to Marcus. He said, they still telling stories about you, from Egypt to Mauritania, stories of that bravery of yours. The legion love you for it. So why did you abandon them? I found that some legions are reserved for no one and in way for all. This is tragic. I love this little bit of interaction with those two. I mean, there is something going on with this trio. They don't trust each other, but there is some, connection, or they making connection with each other. What I love, the next scene, and I know I'm 50 minutes in, but so I try to wrap this up very quick. Theseus says, listen, my ship couldn't stop you from leaving port. There is a dereliction of my duty as a guard. You know what that means. When they find me with you, however tied up, they will charge me for treason. So there's another layer of the story that comes along with it. And then this hit me in the feels somehow, this picture, not what he is saying, because he says, my life belongs to my brothers. It's theirs to take. And there's a story behind that. But this part, I looked at it for maybe a minute, because it resembles when I talked about peace, tranquility, and the oasis a little bit a while back. When I see this picture, grass, plants, wind, azure black, azure blue, sky with clouds moving, it does something for me. It gives me my mind goes wandering to some place. Maybe I'm a little bit sappy today, I'm not entirely sure, but this scene makes the book for me in a big way. I cannot explain it. I'm not trying to, say there's something there. For you, maybe there's nothing there, but for me, there's a lot there. So I wanted to say that. So what they're gonna do is they go to, and this is the fun part, or part of the fun part. They skip. There's some interaction between Mira and Marcus. Beautiful landscapes again. But then we go from beautiful empty landscapes and sandy deserts to, oh yeah, before we go, the edge of the world, Theseus says, and only at the edge of yours, you tin head. I loved a little bit of a dig, towards him, because he's probably very close-minded. God, look at this. So beautiful. Man, I can talk about hours, probably, how great looking this book is. But then they find a porch. Is that how you call it? Maybe. Is this a porch? It's called the Jackal's Rest. And that's more like a slave trader's den for people who buy slaves and sell goods. And yeah, that's probably a very dangerous place to be. And then we see Matt Art in his beauty. From, like I said, to desertly plains to very dense packaged places, marketplaces. There's a lot of going on, people around him talking. The city feels alive, and Matt brings that out very, very cool and very great and very, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm maybe sometimes a little bit lost for words, but basically, it's going to skip now a little bit faster. They want to try to get out of the city to a safe place. They need to go to skip. This we need to pass across the free sand seas to Siwa. So they're gonna look for this person's called Farinas, and Mira and Fiorina's has a pass together, and they basically come also to an agreement that they are traveling with them towards the other side of the not the other side of the country, but probably the other side of the desert. So they are going into the desert. Sorry for skipping a little bit fast, but we are almost at the 20-minute mark, and probably this is going on too long. Sorry for my rambling. And then the last thing I want you to see is Marcus and, I believe, Galileus is doing a ritual. And what the ritual is, I'm not going to show. What I'm going to show is some art, fan art again, and from people who like Donald Kirby here and Megan Lewin. And this guy called Simon James Fletcher. Again, sorry for this video went on too long, but like I said, there's not much action in it, but it tells a great story that pulls me in, and I cannot wait for part 3. This is probably one of the best, if not the best, Indiegogo or indie book that I have read in years. It's so good. It has the adventure story that I like, and when I go back to my youth, I want more. I want more, Matt. Give me more. So, okay, I'm going to stop rambling now. Thanks for watching. This is a great book. Buy it. I'm going to leave the link in the description. Still in demand. You can still buy this 1 and 2. Buy this 1 and 2. Buy it now. Back it now, and you get the books. It's beautiful. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Like the video. And I'll see you next time.